Man, the inside of this thing looks so good. I'm so stoked on it, but I got one more surprise for you. Check it out. You didn't think we're just gonna give only the inside of this thing some love, huh? I figured we might as well match the comp car, and look at that. Look at that, double trouble, baby. Well, so I figured since Dayton's gonna wrap the outside of the car now.
What?
What?
What's happening?
Dayton, that guy right there, is matching the E36, the turbo the daily, the cage the daily car, which is no longer a daily at all. He's wrapping it the same as the race car because we pretty much went full race car with it. So I decided when I was gonna do that I need to gut the doors, so I chopped all the doors up, got everything out of them, got rid of the windows, all that, and then I'm gonna Scotch-Brite them all down, and then I'm gonna steel it that thing so it matches the inside. So when the doors are closed, you're sitting inside, nice and clean. Check them out. This one I obviously haven't painted yet. We still got the super ugly red on here, but got it all cleaned up, tried to deburr the edges as best I could. I do have one done that's over there. Let's check this out.
What about the engine bay, Dylan?
Well, probably should have done that when the engine was out. Boom, look at that. Look at that. Not looking too shabby, turned out pretty good. I think I still might put another coat on it, but I'm really happy with it. I think that steel, it just covers that red up so nice. So I'm gonna bomb that one.
I'm gonna take you on a ride. Gonna burn for the night. Why you so salty?
This thing sucks. I hate this bumper. Usually I can do it in one piece, but with this printed material, no go. I screwed up trying.
Coming along nicely. Just gotta hurry up and dry with this paint, and then I can put everything back together so Dayton can wrap right over the top of all of it. But I think this is gonna be the move. Once we get the body panels back on here, it's really, all you're gonna see is like a tiny little gray slit. So that was really the point of doing all this. I would still like to add a little bit more paint in this area right here. Just trying to figure out the most elegant, best way to do it. So, I'm learning.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
If you think Dylan should take the engine out and paint the engine compartment,
Okay.
same color as the inside of the chassis, leave it in the comment.
Everybody say aye. Aye.
You sure you can handle?
I was able to bring that steel back up where the over fender is going to sit, just so in case when the over fender rolls over, any little gap that might be in between where the vinyl is, you'll only be able to see gray instead of the red, which is really important for me. So that's why I ended up doing all that, which will be cool. I got like a little M3 panel that goes back over that. Fender's gonna go back on, block all this off. The roof is getting rewrapped, that's why we have that line there. And then I was able to go and paint all, like where the taillights go, all around, so like when you open the trunk, you'll be able to see the gray in here instead of that super ugly red. The bottom of the car where I did those bead roll panels, I also painted those last night. Underneath where the bumper goes, in between the taillights. Of course, it took about 75 times longer than I had anticipated, so we were here till about 12 or something like that, but that's okay. It looks pretty sick today, and Dayton is putting some fresh color on the other side, and I'm really stoked on that. So we're gonna have dual wielding purple. Go, Dayton, go! Woo!
Why you so salty? I'll still take a bite.
Okay. We can take my Lambo.
now that we are all sorts of stoked up on the way the inside looks and the outside looks, we're gonna jump back on the inside of this thing, and the wiring harness has finally arrived from Heartsock Racing. So this is a custom chassis harness that we got for this thing. We're gonna integrate it into the factory wiring harness that is for the engine, but we got some really cool parts here. So a couple of switch panels, I got a Link ECU digital display for it that we're gonna put on the steering column, a couple of fuses here, and this is about as simple as it gets for a chassis harness. There's not much going on inside of this thing, not much stuff is gonna be powered by electronics. Like on the comp car, we have an electric water pump in the back, electric fans in the back, electric power steering in the back, cool suit, all sorts of different things, nitrous heaters, all sorts of stuff. This car, we don't have any of that. So literally it's just gonna be to the taillights, to the headlights, windshield wipers, couple other random little doodads, and that's about it. So Brian was able to knock this out for me, and I'm really stoked to get this installed. Definitely gonna clean up the inside of this thing, get rid of all that 1,000 pounds worth of gross wiring that we had before. So really looking forward to draping this thing out there. I'm gonna see if I can't make a bracket for that Link ECU display and get this thing running hopefully here pretty quick.
So we've gone this far. I really think it's time you consider getting a gas pedal.
What? That one's perfect though. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit wore out. Maybe I probably should do something about that, huh?
Something that's wore out, it doesn't even exist.
Yeah, I mean the metal piece is there, but actually it feels pretty good because it has that nice little heel stop for you, and then you're just like, yeah, good to go. I almost feel like, look at these two little bolt holes right here. I feel like I could build some sort of sweet little plate up off of that thing and just like wrap right into that. That might be the move right there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Both of those, but bam. I think that's the move. Okay, so that's fine. I gotta make that, but I can do that later. I just wanna spread this harness out. Here's the problem with all this, is I don't remember where I laid everything out, because it was a long time ago. That's a ground, that's power. I think I put all this stuff over here. I don't know. Okay, so that's the one that's gonna come from the battery. I think that is probably gonna end up like there-ish, somewhere here. Spare relay, spare switch. Okay, not labeled, cool. What is that? Also not labeled, cool. This is going to be power for our fuel pump because I do have a Radium Engineering fuel cell on the way for this thing. So taillight wires, not a whole lot going on back here. So couple there, just got to get some sweet little like rivet on little tab deals to get this line all mounted up all nice and pretty. But that'll be good to get this all held down. Man, I just can't believe that this is even the same car. Like there was so much crap inside of this thing. I'm just so glad that it's not. I think Unicorn Garage did a nice job on this harness. We'll see how the install goes. So what I really like to use are these rib nuts. So it's just basically, I need to get a threaded piece into the frame, and I really hate self-tappers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blast this thing out to the right size hole, I'm gonna squeeze the heck out of this thing, and then it's just gonna clamp the chassis, and I'm gonna be able to thread a bolt into it to bolt this little box on pretty much wherever I want, which is kind of cool. So it'll kind of be like a nice clean little whoop-de-doo. It's Friday, I'm done. I'm out of here. So last night I stumbled across some motivation and I decided that I couldn't wait any longer to mount the Link ECU dash for this thing and then the little switch panel that I got from Heartsock Racing. So I did exactly that. Welded some little tabs onto this factory little brace right here, got my Link ECU MXS 1.2 dash mounted. So now we have all the engine data because my gauges weren't working at all before, literally not at all. So now we'll have all the engine vitals right here in front of my face, which is a great thing to have. So make sure this thing doesn't get hot or if it loses oil pressure or whatever. It's always good to have data on your car. Also, I made a little plate for my little switch panel here, also supplied by Heartsock Racing. So this is just gonna be about as simple as it gets. So it's just ignition, lights, we got some brights, we got some windshield wipers, which hopefully I'll never need, and then a spare switch. That all matched with just a little push to start button. It's literally about as simple as it gets, but I ended up making this little plate for it.
I utilized this factory mount here that was already in the chassis, sank some little bolts on that thing, and I think it looks perfect, and I can just reach it perfectly. So really, really stoked on that. And just got to button up some of this wiring stuff. I have these little zip tie saddles that I want to like rivet into the chassis so that I could zip tie all the wiring up nice and clean. So I got it draped out pretty close to where it should be. I'm just trying to make sure that all my links are okay before I start drilling holes in the chassis, but we're definitely getting close, which feels really good. After we finally get all this wiring stuff figured out and all buttoned up, last thing we have to do is just go have some fun in this thing, which is exactly what we built it for. Now that it's looking all dope, it's driving all dope, it's got the power, it's caged, we're safe, I'm stoked. I want to go drive this thing. I'm ready.